Yeah, click that button, please.
Super important. Good morning, good noon, good evening, whatever time and place you listen to us from, straight from the 909. It's Mark.
You're
Ali.
What up?
Myself, Isaiah, and together,
That's hip-hop.
Please don't forget to like and subscribe and hit the notification bell. It really does mean a lot. Today, we are going to do a special episode for you guys. We got a countdown of our top 3 albums of 2024. I think we collectively wanted to talk about 2024 and some of the highlights that we, or albums that we took a liking to, that we've listened to and that we appreciated. And it's just cool to kind of look back at 2024 and just talk about what dropped and, you know, what albums that we ended up enjoying, you know, during that year. 2024 was a special year. I feel like, you know, in a lot of ways, it kicked off with Cat Williams, you know.
Oh, man.
What a way to kick off the freaking year, dude.
What?
And ever since that, it was like a theme throughout the year that everybody rolled with. It was just like the truth
Exposing.
is going to come out, you know. And sure enough, we witnessed a lot of things in 2024. We witnessed a lot happen, you know,
a lot
to that theme. And I feel like it was very
Hip-hop related?
Hip-hop related for sure. Because you had, I mean, the biggest talk, and I'll just roll into it. The biggest talk was the beef, between Drake that has been brewing and building for quite a bit of
almost 10 years
between Kendrick, J. Cole, and Drake. You know,
the great rap war of 2024. That's what they're calling it.
That spawned a multitude of disses, back and forths.
It was longer build-up than Hagler Leonard.
Yeah.
Marvin Hagler and Ray Leonard were swore to fight for like 5 years.
Yeah.
They topped that. They were sending subs for 10 years.
Yeah, for sure.
And it's crazy because we just passed 50 years of hip hop the year prior. And then we go into this year and it's like hip hop is like come alive. It's come alive in the way that, you know, we've never had a beat to this proportion. You know, in the history of hip hop,
the world was watching.
Yeah,
you know what I mean, it wasn't just rap; it was people on CNN and sports, and I mean, the world was watching. We really never seen 2 MCs that well known, at the top of their game, and at the volume and the speed they were dropping,
and staying alive.
Yeah, and seriously, because not even trying to be funny on that, but true, because the other 2 big, you know. We would say the 2 other biggest beefs, rap beefs or rap battles, whatever you want to call them, that people think of. One of them obviously was Pac and Big, which ended in both of them, you know, sadly getting murdered. Jay-Z and Nas, I would say, was the next super big one, but I feel like that one, while it was huge, it was more so relegated to hip hop.
Yeah, it stayed within its actual realm.
You know what I mean?
This one just transcended.
Was huge everywhere. I mean, people that rarely even listen to hip hop knew about this. This was major huge.
Dude, selling out a concert based on that diss song is wild.
Come on, man. That's how major this was.
He ran it back, 5 times?
5 times.
On the show?
I want to say more.
Probably. He was there. I forgot
he was there. Like 7 times.
Yeah, I forgot he was there.
Yeah,
he pulled an encore probably off feed, off live.
And then, too, about this year, you know, there was like kind of this dispelling of Hollywood almost, like, you know, celebrities aren't looked in the same light anymore. The media is not looked in the same light anymore. You know, even politics is not looked in the same light anymore. A lot of the curtain has been drawn back on a lot of, like we were saying, the exposure, you know. And it's just an interesting year. It's definitely a turn in that aspect where it's like things are changing as far as our views and the way we consume media, the way we consume music, the way, you know, we put out things. So there's a lot more independent artists now. There's there's just a more in touch to lyricism than that we've ever seen in a while, compared to during just about 5 or so years back. We were in a mumble rap era, which, you know, who knew what direction we were going to come back in. But it's cool that it kind of came full circle now into where like this is like a new renaissance of resonance that year really brought in hip hop.
I would honestly say this year was the best year post-pandemic for sure.
Yes, for
sure. I can say this was the best hip hop year post-pandemic.
That is true, dude. That's crazy. Yeah, that's dope. So we want to talk about 3 albums of 2024. Mark has 2, but he has a third one, but he doesn't want to go too deep into the third. But we want to talk about some albums that resonated with us in 2024.
Our favorites. We're not ranking them necessarily.
Not
we're not doing a list. You know what I mean? Like, it's not that. We're not trying to spark a whole bunch of crazy debates or nothing like that. It's literally what the albums that resonated with us personally, and giving those artists and those albums, their due.
Yep.
Yeah.
How do we want to start this? Who wants to kick it off first?
I'll run it being the short and sweet.
Okay.
I mean, I really want to, throughout starting this podcast, my whole thing has always been about getting down to the roots of hip hop. If we get down to the roots of hip hop, I believe that there's going to be a resurgence of intelligent, there's going to be a resurgence of intelligence within the hip hop community. I'm one of those people that fully
AI.
Well, yeah. I mean, if AI learns quick enough, it'd be the illest MC on the planet.
Oh, man.
But
imagine
I just feel that you have to have torchbearers that are going to be doing it.
Yeah.
Whether you have torchbearers that are of the young torchbearers, or you're going to have the OGs being the torchbearers that actually bring it to the forefront and let you know, hey, look, lyricism never left. It's always been here. We just have to put a little bit more out there to make it more mainstream. Yeah. My main one that I wanted to bring out, and had not GNX came out, I would have thought that this would have been the album of 2024, and that's LL Cool J's The Force. Mm-hmm. I like that album from start to finish. Yeah. Lyricism wise, you got LL Cool J knowing he has to prove something, but at the same time being able to have these laid back production by Q-Tip to be able to maneuver around accordingly as LL would.
Yeah.
You got to think about it. I mean, LL Cool J and Q-Tip, it's one thing, like maybe them collaborating on a song is something we might have heard in 97, 98 or something, but an entire album, I don't think that would have been on our bingo cards in 1997.
Nah, bro, that would have been a crazy hit to get paid off on.
You know what I mean?
Those odds are wild.
The fact that, they had been talking about this album for a while. I think I first heard of it, I want to say 2020 was the first time I heard mention that LL and Q-Tip were working on an album together. Yeah. So, when it finally dropped, I was intrigued by it too, because LL's last album, I think it's called Authenticity, it just didn't do it for me. It just didn't. I mean, just be honest. I don't know, where LL was, as far as his mind state in creating that project, but that one just didn't connect.
And I like the fact too that LL was pushing this album with interview after interview after interview after interview. If you just type in LL Cool J The Force interview, there's like 9-10 interviews that he's done just to push this album.
He treated this like he was a new artist. Yeah. Like he pushed this album like he was a starving new artist trying to get on, or he treated it like it was his first album. Yeah. Like he literally gave it the due of an album that he cared about. Yeah. You could tell he cared about this record with the amount of press he was doing for it.
And he delivered. And then peace to LL for being the 40-year hip hop veteran.
Yes.
Starting at 16 and taking hip hop and reinventing himself decade after decade after decade.
He's a figure it's a constant figure you see in hip hop.
Yeah. I mean, if we're going to talk about releases, it's really him and Too Short.
Yeah.
As far as gaps between debut and current.
Yeah. And then seeing the talent, he has the ear, he could see the talent. Like he was the one that really kind of discovered Megan Thee Stallion, but because of the label,
yes,
which is crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And I just want to give the other part of the beauty of this album is that he actually gave three unknowns a track feature on the last track of the album. They're not signed to him. He selected the 3 artists that are on that track listing.
Oh, that's cool.
And doesn't expect anything from them.
That's cool.
But he was like, hey, look, this is just your time to show up on this album and do what you got to do.
Mm-hmm. That's dope.
So that's what I really like about The Force as well. But from start to finish, even with the feature that Eminem has on
absolutely
on Murdergram Doe,
mm-hmm.
LL's never left.
That's a crazy collaboration right there.
LL's been here.
Right. And you got to think that's for Eminem, like that was one of his rap heroes. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Like he's one of his rap heroes. And then I'm sure they had bumped into each other a few times over the years, but for them to actually finally do a song together.
Yeah.
And
to
for it
have
to be
a song that actually works and they complement each other.
Yes.
Yeah, because that is hard to bridge between LL and Eminem.
Well, we've seen it with Busta and Eminem. It's like it's so much that it
was almost
doesn't
too
help the
much.
track. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I wanted to say peace to that album. The other one I wanted to make mention to is the Pete Rock and Common album.
Man.
That's a dope album.
You just have two people that complement themselves, and from I like the way you make beats, I like the way you rhyme. Let's make this happen. Mm-hmm. And from then on, you just have this full-fledged bombardment of the best kind.
Man, Grammy-nominated too, by the way.
And it's Grammy-nominated.
You know what I mean? And Pete Rock has done this a lot over the recent years, doing these collab albums. I mean, he did one with Smoke DZA. That one was incredible. He did one with Sky Zoo. That one was amazing. And this one with Common follows in that same lineage. And I love how all three albums are different. They sound different. And, for Common and Pete Rock, who have collabed before, speaking of beef, they actually collabed on, The Bitch and You when Common dissed Ice Cube. And, I think that was their first collaboration. And for them to, all these years later, as full-grown legends in the game, come together to do a full project and do it so well and so, to the point where it caught the ear of the Grammys, and now it's nominated for Best Rap Album.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
The beauty about it, and I forgot to mention it too, but it's the Auditorium Volume 1.
Mm-hmm.
But as Ali mentioned, to even get that nod of Grammy nomination, that puts the album not only within the sphere of hip hop, but it actually goes past it. Yeah. And it plays into the point that I want to bring back full circle, is that I want lyricism to be full circle. Yeah. Because if lyricism becomes the norm in hip hop, then all this other stuff we could trim the fat off of, and we actually start filtering out, and we can bring back elite lyricism from every which way you spit it.
Yeah.
I
agree.
I don't want closed captioning when I watch or listen to track listings.
Yeah.
Let's get it back to where we can, appreciate the lyrics some more,
Absolutely. Yeah. And actually, I mean, that was something that,
I hate being that old head.
No, but seriously, no, because even even just getting it back to the beef a little bit, like the beef showed me a lot in the sense that it showed me where there's a segment of hip hop that like has zero interest in balance. You know what I mean? It's like, if it ain't something for the club or the party, they ain't trying to catch it or at all. There is a segment of that in hip hop. And again, there is a time and place for that, but that can't be all we're doing. It can't be.
Right.
Like, hip hop was never like that.
Yeah.
It just wasn't. You had your party stuff, but you had your consciousness. You had your lyrical rap. You had your street rap. You had so many different facets of what hip hop could be. Yeah. And that to me is where it's at its best. That's why I said, this year is probably the best year for hip hop since the pandemic, because even though all these different sounds didn't necessarily, go platinum or anything, but this was the first year you started to see little cracks of different forms of hip hop getting recognized from, this didn't make my top 3, but I do still have to give Doechii some props. Her album, showing on the female side that it doesn't just have to be twerk music. Yeah. You know what I mean? She showing you I can spit with anybody and make a conceptual album where I'm rhyming and giving you thought-provoking lyrics while giving you from a female's point of view. Like, to me,
it's crazy, yeah.
That's what made, I don't think this album had any chance 3-4 years ago. I don't think that album would have stood a chance. I don't think anybody would have gave it a shot.
Right, you're right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm just being honest.
I think it took some of legwork for sure from like Nicki Minaj and from Megan Thee Stallion and Cardi B to kind of knock that door down first.
Which is great.
Yeah.
To even get women even a chance to be listened to.
Right,
you know what I mean? But then it got to a point where it's like, okay, now there's 50 twerk rappers.
Right.
Can we get another voice from women?
It
you know
needs
what
to
I'm
have
saying?
its own evolution now. Yeah.
And truthfully, you know, with her being a TDE artist, without the beef, does that get even looked at? I don't know. You know what I mean?
It's just
I don't know.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that kind of leveraged her getting her shine, and then even Ab Soul with his album and Schoolboy Q. Like there were a lot of very, very good albums this year that, you know, may have been just under the realm of actual, you know, super commercial success. But I feel like this year at least was the year where we started to get a chance for it.
Right.
And even like you had, like what Mark mentioned with LL, like a super veteran like LL or Common dropping
just crazy,
great work. Like
because now we're seeing like in their older ages being able to still give music. Hip hop is so young, we haven't seen that yet. So that's also an aspect to all this that we're seeing.
50-year-old rappers, that's a new concept.
Yeah.
That is a new concept. A 50-year-old MC. That's not that's new. Hip hop is barely 50 years old. Period.
Yeah, to even pair up with the fact that the genre itself is only at 50 years old.
Snoop dropped something. You got Nas.
Snoop Dre just dropped. Nas dropped a bunch of albums. You know, over the last few years. So that evolution of it as well. Eminem at 50 years old. You know what I mean? So like we're starting to see more of that, which is also great because for years it was always taught hip hop is a young man's game.
Even Andre 3000 said he's changed his mind. He wants to rap now. Like,
right. He was saying. He was like, I didn't think about rapping past 30, much less 40. Right. You know what I mean? So, but seeing these other MCs having their moments, it's giving that push. You know what I mean? Killer Mike winning a Grammy for his album he dropped last year.
That's crazy.
You know what I mean?
Andre 3000, what? You didn't want to hear me on the flute? You want to hear me rap?
No, we want to hear you rap.
Yes, we do want to hear you rap.
We actually do. LL even had to say it on
but peace to him. He got
show.
people. He marketed that thing perfectly.
He did. He got
his bag.
It reminds me of that Dave Chappelle thing. The doodle-doo.
He got his bag. So Ali, let's go into your
so my actual three. So first one I'll go into is Benny the Butcher and 38 Special, Stabbed and Shot 2. Okay. So I'm going all the way street with my first one.
Okay.
And these two, they dropped their first album, Stabbed and Shot, a few years ago. But this one, man, the way Benny's rapping on this album, this is the best I've heard him rap probably since probably 2020. Like he was coming for blood on this album. I'm gonna just say it. Like the stuff he was saying, like I gotta go through a couple bars he said, because he said stuff we've heard all the violent street raps.
Yep.
This dude found a way to say stuff I've never still heard. This dude said, "And the minute you regret it, I'm getting you beheaded in caskets, dressed like you going to job interviews in heaven." I've never heard a rapper say that.
That's
job
crazy.
Interviews, and I've never heard a description of a murder like that. I've never heard that.
Yeah.
Like I had to pull over when he said it.
Yeah, that's a crazy bar.
I said, what? I was like, what did he just say? And then he kept going. He said, "I ain't here to say what Tory did or didn't do to Megan. If I shoot her, it's with a dope needle. I'm giving you the tester." Like, it's just, I'm like, yo, he's tripping on this
The
album.
officer's like, "You heard Benny the Butcher's verse, huh?" "Yes, sir. Yes, officer."
Man, I was like, so that verse alone had me hooked on the album. But the entire album, he's just coming with it. 38 Special's doing this thing too. And shouts out to him. Him and Benny collab really well together. But I really just wanted to highlight Benny's pen on this album. Like he's spitting, like I said, I ain't heard him spit like this in about 4 years. And because, when I got into Griselda, as far as my favorite rapper in the group, it was Benny. And from 17 to 2020, everything he was coming with was just fire. 2021 on, it was good, but I wasn't feeling the hunger from the other albums. This album, this sounded like 2018 Benny again. So I was very, very, very pleased with what I heard on this album. My next album, I'm going to go with You Only Die Once by Freddie Gibbs. It's kind of a playoff. He released the album, I want to say 2017, 18, called You Only Live Twice. which that album was pretty good too.
That's cool. Just that's
Yeah,
something I've been wanting to do for so long. A James Bond type of. I want to do that so.
Yep. So he did. You only live twice, which is a great title in itself.
Right.
You know, based on the messaging.
Right.
And then he goes on to do this one this year out of nowhere. Like this had no promotion or anything. He just dropped it. You Only Die Once. And this album is just. This might be my favorite Freddie Gibbs album that doesn't involve Madlib.
That's
like
crazy.
this album is top tier. He's spitting his ass off, and he's really. I mean, the street narratives are there like always, but even again, just some of the bars he spit. Like he was like, "I want to smoke my ops like Oppenheimer." Like what? Make a bomb and custom design it, put it in your front of your mama. Like crazy, man. And then
dope movie too.
You know what I mean? Right. The movie, you know, critically acclaimed. And then he goes, like, I'm going to just spit a few more bars. He said, catch the rock and Debo like I'm a 49er. Ooh. So that's double play right there. Debo from Friday and Debo Samuel from the Niners. Yeah. GOAT status. These baby Jordan like they Harold Miner. Huh? It's Harold Miner. I want to walk on air like I'm from North Carolina, but I come straight from Gary, so I walk straight off the moon. I keep a Randy, Tito, Jackie, and Jermaine name on my goons. Like the Michael Jordan, Michael Jackson connection there was just fire. The shot for Harold Miner, you know, since he was called Baby Jordan, like his metaphors, he ain't stopping, man.
Yeah.
Like he's not stopping. He knows how to bring it like every time. So yeah, You Only Die Once, great album. Like I said, my favorite Freddie Gibbs album that doesn't involve Madlib. And then of course my number one, GNX by Kendrick. Surprise album, didn't see it coming. To me, caps off one of the greatest years a rapper's ever had. Like in all seriousness, this is up there with like, you know, 03 50 Cent, you know, 93 Snoop. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like it's up there with, you know what I mean? 08 Lil Wayne. Like it's up there with, you know, those years where a rapper just owns the year.
There was some talks for a minute about him possibly having a second album.
Yes, it's a possibility.
It didn't drop like they were thinking it was going to.
Yeah, it's not dropping now, but with the way he's been strategically moving, I wouldn't be shocked if it dropped like right before or right after the Super Bowl.
Something strategic.
I wouldn't be shocked. Yeah. You know what I mean? This wave he's on is unlike anything we've ever seen. Yeah, it's not stopping for at least the first half of 25.
We literally went from a time of not hearing from him for years, and now it's like every second is
everywhere. It's nuts. And like I said, if you're tired of the wave, I'm sorry. The first half of 25 is already his.
Yeah, he's gonna drop one. That album won't be back for another 20 years.
You know what I mean? Yeah. So this first, I saw a meme. I actually saw a meme. It was like these new Kendrick fans. These new Kendrick fans, they think this is normal. Yeah. Right. Like they weren't around when he was gone for 5 years. Yeah. You know what I mean? So yeah, this run he's on is crazy. You know, we got the Grammys coming up where he's likely to win one at least. Obviously the Super Bowl, and then he goes on tour.
All the cards line up for him to at least release something. I mean, from a business standpoint,
you almost have to.
You would have to just capitalize and just.
This wave is insane. So obviously the album is great. We had a video,
the album was
talking about our live reaction, instant reaction to it. But I just want to highlight "Man at the Garden," which is one of my favorites on the album, and more so the end of it, the last probably 12 bars or so. He goes into this wave where he just starts rapping fast, but really, really saying some powerful stuff. He said, keep these bitches away from me. Keep all my blessings faithfully. Keep my essence contagious. That's okay with me. I'll burn this bitch down. Don't you play with me or stay with me. I'm crashing out right now. No one's safe with me. I did it with integrity and still try hate on me. Just wait and see. More blood be spilling. It's just pain to me dangerously. Nothing changed with me. Still got pain in me. Flip a coin. Want the shameless me or the famous me? How annoying. Does it anger me to know the lames can speak? On the origins of the game I breathe, that's insane to me. It's important. I deserve it all because it's mine. Tell me why you think you deserve the greatest of all time, motherfucker. Like, he just
way to emphasize everything.
Went crazy right there. That's my favorite part of the whole album.
Yeah.
Like, those bars, he just really came with it. So, the West Coast sound, about half the album.
Because after this album drop, now you have this morale that I feel like is rising in the West Coast.
For sure.
You know,
Dudes is walking around.
sound.
Dudes is walking around with their chest out a little more right now. From what he's did from the pop out to this album, you know what I mean? Like he just really brought
just the impact alone.
Crazy. But then he still gave you songs like Man at the Garden, like The Heart Part 6, you know what I mean? Really introspective joints. So I just so I just feel like this album was the perfect just cherry on top to one of the best years a rapper's ever had. Like seriously.
Crazy
and then you culminate that too, another factor to add into it with the popularity on the West Coast. You have the Dodgers winning the World Series as well. To where that song is actually being played. You picture a diss song being played at sports arenas now.
Not Like Us was a rallying cry for the Dodgers championship run.
It's wild stuff. I never in my day would I thought like a song like Hit 'Em Up would be playing.
No.
Can
you
imagine?
But we have one now.
Yeah, a diss.
He made it palatable enough to where
Nas's diss.
Right, Ether. Like imagine Ether being played
at Madison Square Garden. Madison Square Garden.
Like, you know what I mean? But the fact that we reached a point where this record became a hit record to be palatable like that, and then to ride the wave of that, to drop an album, and then like how Mark said in our video about it, didn't even put it on the album. He easily could have.
That's a crazy point. Yeah.
He probably lost maybe 100,000 sales just not having that song on there. You know what I mean? So that's just what strategically he's like, no, I'm trying to show you it's bigger than that. I did that. I had the moment. I had the pop out. Yeah. We on to something else. Right. You know what I mean? So I just thought that GNX was the perfect way to just top off, like I said.
To cap the year off.
Like I said, one of the best years a rapper's ever had.
Man. Yeah, dope list, dude. You guys got dope ones. I'm gonna add some more to this.
Go ahead, man.
The first one I'm gonna go with, my third one is gonna be somebody who we know very closely, who's been our like mentor, Wordsworth.
Shout out Wordsworth.
Crazy thing is he linked up with Stu Bengas on this one.
Oh, okay.
Legendary. DJ Premier gave him some props, which was kind of cool. But I think this challenged Stu Bengas, because Stu Bengas was worked with like artists like Army of the Pharaohs and Vinnie Paz and everybody, but like working with a lyricist like Wordsworth is a different level because Wordsworth's lyricism, we've covered him before, it's multi-syllable storytelling to the highest degree.
Yeah.
It's almost like he could just rhyme everything. And so you have that and I've listened to Wordsworth's his discography intensely because we've interviewed him and I was really serious about it and I wanted to make sure I was on point with everything. This album that he released to date is one of my favorites out of his discography. And I was very, very impressed because I thought maybe his prime was years back. And no, it's right now.
Wow.
It's right now.
It's the beauty about hip hop is like your prime can be a slew of albums past a certain age.
Yeah.
There's no, this ageism stuff is out the window, because we got to treat these artists like we treat the Rolling Stones.
Correct.
And like we treat these other artists because we don't hear ageism stuff with the Rolling Stones.
Sure don't. And hip hop, for whatever reason, for years it was
it's weird.
It was like the end of the stick on that.
Yeah. It's like before it was 30, then we pushed it to like 40.
Right.
But now it's like you can rap to you as long as you can move your lips and make your words rhyme.
Yep.
You can rap till you can't rap anymore.
Right. Which is crazy. I think with Wordsworth, Wordsworth, he tends to rap about a lot of like emotions or, different themes such as like pride or, losing a member or he focuses on that. In this album, he brings that again in this album. But I think what's different here is that the cohesiveness with Stu Bengas, I think, is what's different. Because Stu Bengas right now, is on a legendary run himself with a lot of artists, and he's on a run right now with some dope beats. Because he's old school, he's boom bap to like to as pure as that is. That's what he does. So very boom bap, and you have these beats that are like they just hit hard. They almost remind me of like Ayatollah's beats, because Ayatollah's beats, they're hard hitting, but they're like very soulful. Stu Bangers isn't like soulful, but he does get these like very nuanced samples, and he makes some cool sounds out of it with the hard hitting boom bap. So you put that, and that's the thing about Wordsworth. Peace to Wordsworth, but I don't recall him working with such a producer for a full length album like this at like a producer like this. So it's like hearing Wordsworth work with like a producer at the levels of like, I'm gonna go to the highest one, DJ Premier or something. Yeah, you know, for a full length album.
Wow.
Or Ayatollah for a full length album or something. Like we haven't really got that. You know, I think he's worked with different producers on albums or other producers that really didn't have that name to them per se.
Right.
And so the production with this top tier lyricism is crazy.
It's like Wordsworth anew.
Yes. Yeah.
I mean,
it's
I
a whole
haven't even, I mean, I can, you know, say I haven't checked it out yet, but just going through the track list, first of all, you gotta you on a joint with Elzai.
Oh
like,
yeah. Oh,
that's I have instant credibility for this album already. Just seeing that,
just
you know what I mean?
Elzai and Wordsworth.
Just seeing that those two on us, like that's gonna. I'm excited just to hear that song already, and then you know to dive into this album. And the thing about
that track is they go back and forth on that track, which is just like every time you hear a back and forth like that, it's just like Ryu and Ken, like bah, bah, bah. He has Master Ace on this, which is a long time road homie. Like, you know, you rode with him for like 15 years on the road.
Wow.
So you have that chemistry on there. Man. And I think just from the beginning, it starts off very triumphant. It's a dope, from beginning to end, it's a dope masterpiece of an album. I think it's his best work yet.
Wow.
And then the imagery with the cover of the Kings.
Two Kings is the album title as well.
Yes. And that whole just artwork goes along so well with this. And, you know, him being a king of this kingdom of hip hop, which is like, you know, not a lot of people put Wordsworth, like, they don't put him over like that.
Right.
You know, because he's kind of more of a humble dude, but the dude ill on the mic.
He can spit with anybody.
Yeah, and he's had this weird career path, but like it's cool to see him like in his domain, like on the mic again, like, and he has more projects on the way, but this one I think is my favorite so far. It's just crazy.
That's saying something.
And Fragility of Life was another dope one that was in recent times, but this one's different, man. So I'm gonna put that one number 3. Number 2, I'm gonna go with Vince Staples.
Ooh, okay.
Vince Staples on Dark Times. He
another dope West Coast album.
I thought it was just dope, man. Like the album itself, it talks about like the struggles and going through dark times, obviously, but like finding the beauty in it. That whole idea is crazy, and he pulled it off where you felt that message conveyed, and it was really cool. The way he managed to like give you that production, you know, and then his lyricism was there, dude. Man, I almost feel like he could rap with the best of them. He could rap with the Kendrick Lamar easily.
What's so hard about Vince Staples is the way his career is going, like, and the way like he's almost known more as just being a funny dude.
Yeah, dude,
you know what I mean?
It's a cool,
like his interviews. He's always gonna say something to make you laugh.
Smart.
He's very intelligent, and he's creative to the point where he even has a show on Netflix. You know what I mean? He has a whole like show, the Vince Staples Show, and it's literally just him navigating through life as a rapper. You know what I mean? Just navigating through all sorts of different things, issues with, you know, relationship stuff and family stuff and all kind of stuff. Yeah, and the show is hilarious.
Because I already know he's witty already. Like
that mess is so funny, bro.
He's quick with the reply on something witty. Like,
and the show is funny. I'm looking forward to a season 2. But yeah, this album I can only imagine fitting in with his style.
It was like it just felt well put together. The production was dope, along with the lyricism was dope. Like he had ideas that were very clear in the music, and he like conveyed that very well on the tracks. Like the cool hooks and choruses, like it was well put together, man. And it was a dope sound. It's one of those albums that make you like kind of reflect and like go deeper and things that's going on. And he touched on some things that like, I don't know, it's just cool to be talked about around this time, which is dope.
And it's cool to mention too that this is going to be it's like a send-off album of sorts, because it's his last album with the label Def Jam.
Yeah, that's crazy too.
So it's one of those things where we don't see it on the outside initially, but when we realize, oh look, this is perhaps why he came off so hard.
Right.
This is like this is the swan song to being on the label.
On major, right?
Yeah, because with the approach now, which I mean, I think he has a lot of financial backing to go independent. And
for sure.
That's the smartest route to go at this point.
Yeah, I think so too.
You built your fan base. You got a catalog now.
Yeah.
So my number one this 2024, I knew it was gonna be dope, and when I heard it, I was like, oh, so satisfying. Samurai by Lupe Fiasco.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
I liked the motivation. You know, he used some motivation from what was her name? Oh, dude, I'm forgetting her name right now. The singer. She's a female singer who had passed away.
Amy Winehouse.
Amy Winehouse. There you go. Because she had mentioned something about she wanted to like rap or something, and he like took that idea and used it as motivation and like referenced it as if like she was going to like be this artist and something. But the music didn't focus totally on that. He just explored his own ideas and themes with regards to the craft of rapping.
The title track is insane.
Right? It's dope. And I know he's talked about like even the samurai thing, like, you know, I think his dad had a dojo or something to that degree.
Oh yeah, Lupe knows martial arts. Like he's a legit martial artist.
Yeah, so like it's not no gimmick. Like this dude,
Lupe really could beat your ass for real. Like I'm gonna just say it. Like Lupe could literally beat your ass.
The law of Bushido and with the samurai, you know, sword law is that if you draw the sword, you got to get blood on it, and then you're able to put it back in after you clean it.
That's crazy.
So it's like the law of the samurais don't play. So if he's putting that, if he actually titles it like that, bro, you gotta watch out.
Yeah,
you already know off the jump. You don't. Lupe just doesn't put the word samurai and doesn't. It doesn't.
And the thing that's crazy is like when I hear Lupe Fiasco, like even now in this album, I know like the brilliance of this dude, and it's like knowing that it makes me excited to listen, because I know that he's gonna come with something in here that's gonna like, you know, blow me away. And the fact that he's like just kind of, you know, talking about just the art form itself.
That song Cake is crazy too.
Yeah. My favorite out of this whole album was Outside. Okay. I think that it's one of those, there's, you know, as an MC, you hear a certain beat and you get the goosebumps, or you get that tingling in your arms because your hair raises, because it's just like one of those ones that makes you want to rap. That beat on Outside was one of those for me. I had that on repeat probably like 10, 20 times, like somewhere in between there. And I felt like he found that sound, and it carried through, man. And it reminded me of the kick push era, you know, Lupe, you know, when that Lupe came out, it was over.
And speaking of Lupe, right now, we're starting to see a lot of artists put in their mixtapes on DSPs. Can we please get some Lupe mixtapes on these DSPs? I mean, all
clip it.
Yeah.
Enemy of the State, Touch the Sky, the Fahrenheit 115 Part 1 and 2, all of those classic. Oh my gosh, if we could get those classic Lupe mixtapes on there, man, I'll be so happy.
That's my number one, man.
That's a hard album,
Yeah,
man.
I felt like that was, and it's not too long. It's not too overbearing.
31 minutes.
Yeah, you know, it's just real precise. Gets in and gets out, but it's like you get the message. It's like, it's dope.
I actually like that as far as the listen.
Yeah.
Like, I like my albums like 45 minutes.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
yeah, that's like a good
Quick little commute.
These days, 45 minutes, I'm good.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You know, it gets the job done. You know, you get the message conveyed within that time frame. It's
Love
dope.
it.
So this has been our 3 albums that we've chosen for 2024. You know, let us know in the comments if you guys agree or if you guys
Some of your
disagree
favorites.
or have some favorites of your own. Let us know what are your favorites for 2024, and you know, we'll comment on that and let you know our thoughts behind that album.
Happy New Year, y'all.
Yeah, man, it's been a wonderful.
It's been a
New
great
Year's.
year.
We got so much.
2025 is just nothing but up from here, man.
Yeah. So for all those, you know, going into 2025, you know, stay dynamic, you know, take charge, take advantage of opportunities that come your way.
Yeah.
It got to be your year.
And I only say this because I was able to get it done through perseverance and hard work and all that good stuff. But there's no excuse for you not to be successful in this day and age of technology. If you do seek that, if you do seek, you know, being able to do things as you would, you can do that too. But if you want to actually be successful at something, the tools are out there for you to do it.
Definitely.
All right, Mark, let them have it, man.
To the MCs, if you drop a mic, drop a like.
I just need those blower things. Happy New Year.
Yeah, I don't have that. Oh, the countdown.
Happy New Year, y'all.
5,
Tennis
4,
confetti.
3, 2,
2025.
1. We're gonna New Year battle you here and take
Yo,
you
I'm
fear.
better rap the cat, the average cat, and don't want to adapt to my style. It's a fact.
You told me not to curse on this
don't know
verse
where
that I
I'm at.
dispersed.
I'll bury you down like a mat when I come through the stats.
2025 freestyle coming soon.
Don't step to our lyrical habitat.